y'all, it's Peaches the Dawn. I've been getting a lot of frequent questions on me doing a set, so it's finally here. So y'all guys just stay tuned. So right now I'm pushing up her cuticles, and you just want to be careful when you're pushing up the cuticles. You don't want to add too much force. Just do it slowly, especially if you're new to this process. And right here, I will be using my medium grit sanding band to create a rough surface on her nails so the acrylic can adhere to her nail plate. I used like a fine grit, and that didn't really work for me. And then I used a coarse bit, which really damaged her nails. Well, not actually her nails, but my nails, because I tried it on myself. And it really wasn't the right fit. So I just use medium coarse bits, and that's been working perfectly fine for me. So yeah. So over here, when I sandband and push up her cuticles, and not just her, but all of my clients that I get, they have a little bit of a cuticle left, dead skin. And so I just cut that off with that tool. And right here, as you see, her hands flipped on over because I have a different method of applying tips, because sometimes people really have like bad cricket fingers, and sometimes I'm just really bad with applying it straight down. So this is what I do to make the nails look all straight, and honestly this method has been helping me a lot. So hopefully when y'all ladies try this, or gentlemen try this method, it actually works out for you, because it definitely helps me. So yeah. In this video, I will just be doing one hand, because I know some people have short attention span and I don't really want to take too much of your time. And like, her design on this hand is the same thing on the other hand. So just stay tuned. So when I'm shaping her nail, I'm gonna first like shape it like square, like at the ends are they're a little bit wide, so I'm gonna try to make them straight. And then later on, I'm gonna just kind of coffin them out a little bit, because these are more of a square coffin instead of like an actual coffin or a tapered square. And usually how I file the nail to see if the ends are straight, I just flip them over. So that's what I'm doing right here. And then right here, I just put my sanding band and just, you know, put it all over the plastic. I mean, you don't have to do this. This is optional, but I just started to do this. I don't know why. I've seen most of my favorite nail techs do this, so I'm just like, why not? So yeah. And here's a quick clip of what the nail looks like. And then right here, I will be applying my dehydrator first. Dehydrator is to dehydrate the nails, because we do have oils on our nails. So that's what I'm doing. And then I will eventually switch out my dehydrator and apply my acid base primer. I love my acid base primer. I don't like using non-acid or acid free, because the acid base primer tends to work way better than the non-base. And right here, these are, you know, as you saw in the picture that she showed me, the colors that I had that were similar. So I just pulled them hoes out and started, you know, working my magic. So yeah. And one thing I would say about the acrylic, when choosing your acrylic, is just to beware about like the consistency of it. You know, if you have an acrylic that's very runny, which this one I was working with was really runny, you gotta be slow with it. You gotta be patient with it. If you know you're not gonna be patient with it, then I suggest you moving on to something else that's very that's just good, because most of the time the really stabilized acrylic, the ones that don't really like move around, that are not runny, they're gonna cost more. But you know, I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna try to work with this because they sell this brand everywhere. This is Glam and Gliss I'm using, and they sell this everywhere, and I do like their colors, you know. So I was just like, you know what, I can work with this because I mean, I can, you know, but it just depends on you. So yeah. I try to make sure that when I'm going close to the cuticle, taking my last bead to complete the nail, that it's not too big and not too close to the cuticle, because 9 times out of 10, if your bead is way too big, it overflows off the cuticle and you end up having to wipe it off the nail. And sometimes wiping won't even help. That's only the best thing you can do at the moment. And you know, that nail itself will most likely live, because once it's off the cuticle, off the premises of the nail plate, it's most likely gonna live. So just be aware of that. I just want to put a disclaimer out there that I'm not the best person when it comes to ombre. Me and ombre, we be fighting, and it's like, I'm gonna get there. It's a process. Me becoming a whole technician, I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. You have to have a lot of patience, but you know, I trust the process. I trust God, and you know, helping me through and guiding me through this process. And I'm also giving y'all what y'all guys asked for. So yep, just stay tuned. So when I apply this bead, when I'm doing like the French curve, the fresh outline, the V outline, I always want to start from like below the cuticle, not right at the cuticle, because that just really hasn't worked for me. And I start there and I start forming, and then eventually when I make the good form, I build up my apex from the cuticle a little bit. So y'all guys will just see that, and I'll do some more videos on that in depth so y'all guys can see how I do that. And there's also a video about this on YouTube by Sydney Alexis. I'll have that link in the description so y'all guys can check that out. And why I moved on to the next nail is because you just want to let that nail dry, because eventually I will shape it with my nail file. So as you guys see, I pulled out my nail file to just shape that like U French line. And yeah, this really helps if your French line doesn't look as precise. I highly recommend doing that. So yeah. And any spaces I missed, I'm just gonna fill those in. And you just want to grab a very small bead to fill those gaps in, because if you don't fill those gaps in that you miss, 9 times out of 10 it's gonna lift. So that's very important. So right here, I'm gonna be spraying alcohol on my friend's nails because she was having a complaint about her nail burning. And usually that's just because of the acid base primer I'm using. It's acid based, so if it gets on your skin, it's going to burn you. So just be aware of that. But other than that, that acid primer be working. So I'm going to be encapsulating my nails, my ombre nails, and that will help in the long run, especially if you're a beginner. I'm always going to be encapsulating my nails because it's just to be safe. Like, because if you don't encapsulate it, 9 times out of 10, if you're using an e-file, it's going to mess up the blending that you did on your ombre. So with that being said, encapsulate. And shout out to my client for getting me this really good clear acrylic powder because it's really nice. And I'll also have that put in the description. So I recently just started filing first before I use the e-file. Usually I would do it reverse. So I file first and then I use the e-file. So that's what I'm just going to be doing over here. No cap, me and this thumb were having issues.
Good and stuff, but just know that you're gonna have some struggles coming up to your obstacles and stuff like that, you know. So just think positive, walk in there positive, even though it's scary because college is not like high school. It's really not, you know. So walk in there positive, confident that I will pass, that I will do good. You know what I'm saying? You will do good. You gotta, like I said, you gotta be organized. Have a planner. Write down information, because they're not gonna tell you, hey Samuel, did you turn in that one assignment in? No, everything is on you, because you are a responsible adult now. You're in the real world now. Where
after that, I just use my fine buffer. I don't know what this grit is. All I know is that it's fine. So I use that to just smooth out the nail. after that, I just spray alcohol on her whole nail, and then I go in with my nail brush grit, and I just wipe the dust around her cuticle and her acrylic nail. And after that, she's gonna wash her hands, and then I'm gonna put the diamonds on and top it off with the gel top coat. And this is how her nail looks like. So when I'm using a water decal, I just put the decal in water and you just slightly like pull it off. And what I do to kind of like glue it, because I don't want to encapsulate it because that's just too much thickness adding to the nail, which I don't feel like doing. So what I do is I just put gel under it, and then I stick the water decal on top of it, and then I put it in the light, and I cure it for about like 30 seconds. And it stays on, it doesn't move anywhere, because if you don't put anything under it that's like sticky that would adhere to the acrylic nail, it will move. So that's what I did. And over here you just see me applying, you know, the little diamonds, you know, a little bling bling, nothing much. So guys, let me tell you a secret. So when I first was doing nails, I was really desperate in finding a good diamond adhesive, and at first I was going to use what Lovely Mimi was using, which was Zule, but I felt like I could find something cheaper because it was like $10 at the time. So I went to one of my favorite beauty supplies, and he put me on to dip base. And dip base is like, when it comes to dip, like you use like these certain steps, and so he gave me the first base, the first step to glue my diamonds, and I've been using the base ever since, and it's been working. So I highly recommend getting a dip base for gluing your crystals, because it works for me. And so right here kind of cut off, but right here I'm just going to be applying the top coat, and this is my favorite top coat I've been using. I don't think you can get it online. I tried to search it up online, but it's only at this local beauty supply I've been going to, and it's called 7 Star, and I love it. And so here's the final look. Thank y'all guys for watching. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Bye.